Welcome back. Yesterday, we considered Jesus' parable of the persistent widow, or at least that is how it's traditionally referred to. But we saw that really, rather than it being a parable of a widow nagging, rather the intent of Jesus was to show us that if an unjust judge would finally give justice to this persistent widow, how much more so would your loving, heavenly, just judge Father bring vengeance on your behalf when it is justly needed? At the very end of that parable, in verse 8, we read, "I tell you that he, that is God, your Father, will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man comes, will he really find faith in the earth?" That's a pretty powerful statement, just kind of hanging out there that Jesus leaves us with. In the end times, when the Son of Man comes back, Jesus asks the question, will he really find faith on the earth? Do you remember a while back we looked at Hebrews chapter 11 in the consideration of faith? That faith was the evidence of things unseen. It was the substance of things hoped for. That by faith we flick the light switch on and such. And that in verse 6 of Hebrews 11 it says, without faith it is impossible to please God, for those who come to God must believe that he is, that he exists, and that he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. There is a large battle that goes on with us that I think it's important for us to be reminded again within the context of these encouragements, since Jesus brought it up again. And that is this concept of faith. 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 I am mindful of Indiana Jones as he again goes for the golden the chalice of Christ, and there's this chasm that's in front of him, and he has to make the decision of whether he's going to believe this little guidebook. Now, I don't want to say that Indiana Jones is that model that we ought to follow, but the picture that happens in that show, him, if you consider that little guidebook as the Bible, that he looks at it and he understands what he's being taught, what he's being told he needs to do, that he needs to move forward, but yet by his sight he looks and he sees this chasm, and he thinks if he walks forward he will fall to his peril. But at the end he looks in the book and he sees what the book tells him. He closes his eyes, he holds the book to his chest, and he takes a step forward, and he propels himself out into that chasm. But as he goes into the chasm, he realizes that all along there had been a bridge there. God has got you covered. God has your needs provided for. He knows what you need. He loves you better than you love yourself. That's a statement. But it's all going to come down to faith, faith, faith. Do you really believe? Do you really believe that God is, and that he's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him? When the Son of Man comes, will he truly find faith on the earth? Jesus said in the end times, because lawlessness would abound, the love of many would wax cold. We've got to become prayerfully consistent in seeking God's face, that we would not lose heart, that we would not lose confidence, that we would not be distracted by the world, that we would not begin to look to the world as our provider and our protector, but that we would understand that he alone is God. Would you ask the Lord today, just to ask you where you are with that concept of faith in your life? I commend you. If you've made it this far already into these teachings, then I believe that you really do desire to continue to grow in this relationship with the Father. And so the next step then is to continue to increasingly grow in faith. We want to continue to look at that concept now as we look at these devotionals, seeing what Jesus says to us about the place of faith in prayer. Take time to pray. Have a blessed day.